Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Path to 1 Million. This is episode 18. I am your host, Cliff Duvenois. And today I got a story. It actually started happening about a few days ago. I was challenged by my coach in this program to come up with some kind of a product, some kind of a very simple solution that could really help out people as they're doing. When they get the LinkedIn generation class, like what could help them out, what could really move the ball forward. And I remember I was racking my brain over a couple of days about this, and I was kind of walking someone through what it is that I was doing. And, she kept asking me, she's like, I don't understand what that means. And I don't understand why this is relevant. And, and I was having to go back and explain things to her, which I don't mind doing, because I know that I've been doing this for a while. But it occurred to me that there's some baked in knowledge that I have that hasn't been really translated over into other people and what it is that they're doing. And it reminded me of when I was in college. There was this one class that I took. It was stability and control, and it was a super mega tough class. I mean, everybody dreaded taking this class because it was going to take up so much time. And I remember I was in that class and I was studying, I was working hard. There was one particular homework problem that he gave us to do where he gave us a photograph of an airplane, and we had to break out a ruler and measure the different parts of the aircraft, and then take those numbers and plug it into an equation, and be able to, tell what the airplane could do. And so I remember I sat down, I had my ruler out with this photograph, and I was trying to carefully measure, be as accurate as I could. And I remember I worked on that thing all weekend. I mean, from literally Friday night till Monday morning, I worked on that problem like crazy. And I finally came up with an answer, right? I did all these formulas, all these equations. There was no, real computer I could use. It was just my calculator in my brain, which is, problematic at best. Anyways, I go through all that, and I walk into his office on Monday morning, and I put my stack of paper down in front of him, and I was like, I got the answer. And I remember, his name was Professor Greiner, great guy, super smart. And I remember he was looking through, my paperwork, and he would just kind of nod his head. And then he tapped on my final number, and he goes, so what does this mean? And of course, I hadn't slept in the last 24 hours. I was caffeined out of my skull. And I just stood there in his office. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, yeah, what does this number here mean? And I had no clue. I got to a number, but I had no idea what it meant. And so I kind of stood there. I was a little bit flat-footed. I was like, and he goes, Cliff, the number doesn't mean anything unless you can translate it into something like real world. You can explain to people, what it means to them. And so I picked up my stack of papers and I walked out of his office. And I remember I was went home and I was pouring through my books and I was looking through my notes because I knew I probably missed something somewhere. And I was going through my notes. All of a sudden, I saw what the answer was. I was like, oh, this is cool. So the next day, I go back to his office and I put my paperwork down in front of him again. And I tapped on the answer. And I said, I know what this number means. He goes, well, what does it mean? I said, it means that the aircraft is unstable. He goes, great. What does that mean? And I didn't have an answer to that question either. And I had sleep. I was still caffeined out of my skull because in college I was addicted to coffee. That's just how it was. But I had no clue. I didn't know what it meant that an aircraft was unstable. And I grabbed my paperwork and I walked out the door again. And I remember standing there in the hallway, scratching my head, going, God, I don't know what this means, But I remember in class it was he said, if you get a number in this range, then it means the aircraft is unstable. But I didn't understand, what that truly meant in the grand scheme of things. And because I was thinking at the time that, I know that, and I was thinking back then maybe I could work for the CIA, and the CIA was very notorious for getting photographs of aircraft of the Soviet Union, things like that. And you had to figure out, what the aircraft could do. And I just remember thinking to myself that, my chances of being a spy like James Bond were quickly slipping away because, I couldn't figure these things out. I didn't know what it meant. First off, I got a number that I had no clue what it meant. And then I figured out it was unstable, but I didn't know what that meant either. And so it occurred to me that, for a lot of people, when they're building a business, the business tells them things in terms of numbers, but if they can't take that number and turn it into something real world and be able to take action on it, then it's kind of useless, So anyways, I got this idea about, being able to take like a couple numbers and, put them into a spreadsheet and have a spreadsheet run these calculations and actually be able to come back and in English, be able to tell you, hey, this is this is either what you're missing or this is what you need to do to improve or whatever it was. And, I had that flash come to me. And so I was like, wow, that's really cool. So anyways, one of the things that I've been working on is just creating this, this spreadsheet that would just do that for people. Just be able to let them know, hey, if you're experiencing this, then, per the numbers, this is what you need to do. You're either, you're either behind, you got to get caught up, or maybe there's some opportunities for improvement. But, it's always good to put a system in place, and that system is going to produce some kind of results. But the thing is like, are those results good or not? I mean, are you moving towards your goal? Are you moving towards your objective? So anyways, I got really excited about that because it's something I can build, something that I understand in my head. So it's just a matter of mapping it out into Excel and, putting it out there and making it available for people to be able to use to gauge their progress in the system. So I was really super excited about that, and I was super excited to put it together because it means now that, people will understand, people will know. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you and put that out there. And I really do appreciate you guys tuning in to my latest broadcast. And I will be back tomorrow with another update. But I hope you guys are all doing well on this rather lovely weekend, and I will see you then. Have a good evening.